In 2 days, Belkin is shutting down the Wemo cloud service. So that means all of your different Wemo devices that connect to the cloud will no longer work. They won't work in the Wemo app, and they won't have access to Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. But there are a couple things that you can do to still be able to use these devices depending on what devices you use. So this will shut down January 31st, 2026. So that means you have the rest of today and tomorrow to be able to do these things, to be able to save your Wemo devices. There might be a third-party option after that we'll get to in a minute. So the first thing we need to do is talk about the types of Wemo devices and ones that will be able to still be used. So first off, we have the older Wemo, maybe the first Wemo you had. Most of those are no longer going to be supported. So they will just essentially need to be recycled. They'll still continue to operate turning on and off, but they will no longer connect to the cloud, being the Wemo cloud, so you can't access them in the app, and they won't be able to be controlled from your smart home. So it's just gonna act like a normal switch, but it won't have any of the smarts built into it anymore. So here is a list of all of those different devices that are impacted. If you have one of those, I'm sorry. But if you do have a device that is Apple HomeKit compatible, so here I have a Wemo Mini, which is HomeKit compatible. There you can see I have the little HomeKit symbol there. You can connect this right now to HomeKit and it will still continue to work long-term in HomeKit, but you have to do that before the 31st. So that's something you need to do right now. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Here are a list of the devices that do work with HomeKit so you can know which ones you have, and then you'll go and find them and connect them. This is something you might want to share with other families that have Wemo devices to connect them like ASAP so that they can still access them. Most likely, if you are using HomeKit, there's nothing you have to do because you've already connected it there, but you may want to check to make sure each of your devices are connected over HomeKit. And then the third type of device that Wemo has is devices that work over Thread that connect to HomeKit. Now here are those devices, and those will continue to work long-term because they're not dependent on the Wemo cloud. They're going to be fully integrated within Apple HomeKit and will be able to be used. Now, if you do have any of these devices that are still under warranty, maybe you just recently purchased it or something, you can reach out, and if it's still under warranty, you might be able to qualify for a refund on your devices. But if your devices no longer work and you want to get rid of them, you would just need to recycle them. So let's go ahead and start with the option of what you need to do today and tomorrow to be able to keep your devices functioning. And right now that is going to be mainly in HomeKit. So if you're using Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant, I have a second option I'll talk about in a minute, but let's talk about HomeKit. Now for HomeKit, you do need to have an Apple device. So here I have an iPhone. You could also use an iPad, but I just need to go into the Home app. And here I've already connected one of my devices, but I'm going to show you how to connect another device. So we're going to add an accessory. So up here at the top, I'm going to tap plus, add an accessory, and then I need to scan the code. Now, some of these, or this one, is the same model, but it doesn't have a QR code. So there might be some other things we need to test with that one, but let's go ahead and connect this one right there. So there we have the code. I simply need to scan it, and there it found that it is an outlet and we can add it to the home. Now is how Wemo devices work is they connect to your network and then you can control them as long as you're on your network, and Apple HomeKit allows them to continue to be used that way. So it's really cool that they'll still work, but the problem is if you had a new device that was reset, once the Wemo cloud is gone, you won't be able to connect it to your network by default anymore. So this is a great option to do now because now HomeKit is going to be the controller. So while that's getting set up, I am going to plug this in. So there we have given it some power, and this will just take a minute to connect. Now, as I mentioned before, if you do have older devices that aren't compatible with HomeKit, you are still able to operate them. So you can use the button to quickly turn on the device that is plugged into, pretty simple, or you can use the light switch to turn them on and off and adjust the brightness. But beyond that, they have no cloud integration. So here it's giving me a notice that the accessory is already in another home. So you may need to reset the accessory before adding it to your home. So let's see, how do we do that? So what you're gonna do is you're going to unplug it, hold down the power button, and then it says plug in while holding down the power button and release once the LED blinks white. So I'm gonna hold down that button, plug it in, and we're gonna wait till that LED blinks white. All right, it is now blinking white. Now that I have this reset, I'm gonna head into the Wemo app and we're gonna see if we can connect to it. So here we have a smart plug, and ooh, it gives us the option with or without the HomeKit code. So we do have a HomeKit code. It's plugged in, it's flashing 2 colors. We're gonna scan the code, and now it's letting us add it to the home. All right, it has now been added, so we can go ahead and choose where we are going to add this. So I have some preset rooms that are suggested here. Let's go ahead and add this one into the basement, and we could give it a name, and you could say if it's a fan, a light, or an outlet. And we're just gonna call it an outlet. You can change that later. And now it has gone through and set that up into HomeKit. It's gonna see if there's any other devices that need to be added. So here I see it in the Wemo app, but because we're going to lose access to it, let me show you where it is now. If we go into Home, now I have the option to control my switch here. Now, so what's amazing is how quick this interacts. Look at how fast that is able to be controlled when I am controlling it that way, or we can quickly turn it on and off here. Let's try this other one. It doesn't have the HomeKit code, so let's go ahead and see if we can add it here into Wemo. All right, and it looks like for this device, I'm not able to get it to connect to the network. Maybe I should have checked before I reset it, but there you go. We have a device that we might have another option to get to in a minute, but I have one more switch I want to connect to through HomeKit. But now that we have these other switches in HomeKit, they have now been saved. That means it's going to continue to work on Apple HomeKit. Now, that's only great if you're using Apple HomeKit and you have an iPhone. If you do want to use that integration, you might have the option to use what is called Homebridge. Homebridge is kind of like your own server in your home, and Homebridge allows you to take devices from Apple HomeKit, put them in Homebridge, and then you could then connect Homebridge to Amazon Alexa and control your devices there. I haven't tried it. That's just a recommendation. If you really want to get these to work, you can try that. One more option I'll talk about in a minute is how to use your devices in Home Assistant. A little complicated there, but let's go add the other light switch I have so that I have it connected here in HomeKit, and we'll move from there. Next, I have a Wemo switch right here, and it is HomeKit compatible, so I can pull off the faceplate and you will see a HomeKit code on it to connect to, but here I can see it's already working within the app. So all I'm gonna do is go into the Home, going to tap the plus, add accessory, and here it gives me the option to select more options, and it's going to automatically find accessories it can use. And right here, I have the storage room that is nearby. Now here it says I can look up the QR code. So if you have this on the box, you could easily scan it, but I am going to take off my faceplate now to scan the code. Now, because this actually isn't the QR code, I can just input this number. So right here, it gives me the option to enter the setup code. Now that I've entered the code, it's setting it up, and here it's asking where this is. So we're just going to add it into the basement as well. Give it the same name. There we have the storage room. Continue. This is a light, and now it has been added into the home. So we can easily turn it on and off right from here. Another device saved into HomeKit. Now I tried connecting the Wemo Mini again, and I was able to get it in the Wemo app, but I still don't have the HomeKit code I need to add it into HomeKit. One more thing we can try is going into More, and then we can go into Connect to Other Services, and here we have Apple Home App, Get Started. And now that this is connected, we can see it has the option to connect. So if I tap on there, I can then add the outlet, and now it's going directly into HomeKit. And there it gives us the option to add it into the basement. Here we can give it a name. We're going to name it the same thing, and it is our outlet. And now it has been added into our home. So that's awesome. We were able to save these 3 Wemo Minis as well as the light switch. So here you can see all the devices. This one is just not plugged in, so it's showing offline. But there you can see how fast that test interacts. So that's great. Those are the devices that can be connected to HomeKit that aren't the newest Wemo devices. Now, if you have the newest ones that are working over Thread, I think they automatically set up in the Apple Home app, so you don't need to do what I've done, connecting to Wemo, then to Apple HomeKit, and that's the devices right here. So they have the mini plug, they have the doorbell, and another switch as well. So nice that you can continue to use those devices, and they're going to be working how they are working. Now, all of the other devices that are not HomeKit compatible and not Thread compatible, they are pretty much gone. But if you do have them connected, there may be a second option in which we can use to be able to still control them. So if you currently have them on your network, that might be a good sign. And we're going to do this through Home Assistant. So Home Assistant is another server that you can create in your own home. I have a Ugreen NAS that I have set up Home Assistant on, and then it gives me the option to control devices locally on my network. During the process to create your Home Assistant server, you can also turn on the integrations, and I've turned on the Wemo integration. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to continue to work. To turn that on, there is another option to hopefully get those to work, but that quickly adds things. But I believe is how this works is your Wemo devices are connected to your network and Home Assistant can automatically find them. So here I have my switch. Here I've opened up Home Assistant, and under my switches, I have the test that I just added. And you can see that is so fast. I also have another Wemo Mini over here that is able to work as well. Oh, took a second to wake up. And now we have control of that. So I now have them in Home Assistant. So what that means is I can then integrate Home Assistant into Google Assistant as well as Amazon Alexa to continue to have control of those devices. At this point, it might be easier just to get a compatible switch that you don't have to do this to get it working with Alexa. I use some Tapo smart switches that have worked really well. There's a ton of options out there. I'll leave one link down in the description if you want to pick up a new Wi-Fi based one that's easy to set up and you don't have to worry about the rest of this. So there you go. Home Assistant would be an option to continue to connect to your devices. I think it's great because I was able to set it up on my own server. Now, the last option to save your Wemo devices is through what is called PyWemo. It's a Python-based application that allows you to add your Wemo devices to the network and be able to control that, because without the Wemo app, you will no longer be able to connect them to Wi-Fi. So this application is able to do that. Now, I have no idea how to get this on your computer, how to work it. It's on GitHub, and you just search PyWemo and you will be able to find it. There's the repository. You can download that, install it, and then through its service, I guess it's pretty basic, but it allows you to then take a Wemo device and get it connected on your network, which then it should be able to work in Home Assistant. Now, after next week, we'll be able to know a little bit more of what is impossible, but maybe there's still some people out there working on ways to recover your Wemo devices so they will continue to work. But that's just about all I know about that. And at this point, if you don't have your Wemo devices connected, maybe again, it's worth it to just go out and pick up something else. So if this video helped you save your Wemo devices in HomeKit, make sure you leave a like down below and share this with your friends. Let them know, or your family, that you need to do this today. And hopefully you can also help them set up their new device as well. So if you have any further questions about this, please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.